So Baba Yaga has just released into Smite, and my job today is going to be to teach you how to both play and build the newest mage to join us on the battleground. So let's start with a build, because I know a lot of you are here just to get a build and then get in a game. Though I will say I'm going to explain why I like these items after, so feel free to stick around to get some additional tips and tricks. However, the build I like to run on Baba Yaga is Shoes of Focus, Warlock Staff, and Hide of the Urchin. That makes up the core of my build. And then different items I like to flex into later on are items like Ethereal Staff, Spirit Robe, and Oni Hunter's Garb. The other thing I will mention is I do think that Gem of Isolation has some potential on Baba Yaga. It gives the character a lot more control, but only when they're in the ultimate. Outside of the ultimate, there's not a lot of application and it's not very good. So before I can give you guys tips and tricks on how to play Baba Yaga, I think it's important that we all have a baseline understanding on what the character does. Starting with Baba Yaga's passive, basically she has this house, and this house literally walks around the map and generates this energy. Baba Yaga can consume this energy to either restore her health or stack items for her. That's why I like Warlock Staff so much. Usually the major drawback is that you have to take so much time to stack Warlock Staff up, but Baba Yaga gets to stack items much easier than the rest of the gods in the game, and that's what makes this item a little bit more appealing here. Now, moving on to the core abilities, the first ability has Baba Yaga throwing out a rune onto the map. Enemies that are caught on the drawing of the rune are damaged, but this rune will also persist and deal different effects depending on a random variable. It either gives protections or movement speed to allies, or it can silence or slow enemies. Again, this is all random. It does show on the passive indicator what the design of the rune is going to be and what passive effect it is going to take. The second ability is also a little random. Baba Yaga brews a potion, and Baba Yaga can throw this potion. What's important to note here is this potion has random effects depending on what gets brewed. It can either do additional damage, slow, a bunch of fun stuff like that. But the final and most important thing about the second ability is that you can actually right click or refire the ability to put that potion into one of your consumable slots for later use. This will start the cooldown timer, which means that later on you will have the ability to throw out 2 potions in one fight, which will help you do more burst damage. For Baba Yaga's third ability, she rushes inside her cauldron and starts rolling around. Eventually she explodes, dashes out, and deals damage. I think this is a very good ability. It gives a lot of damage mitigation, and I think that's the most defining feature of her kit. It's really fun. Now, finally, we have the ultimate, where Baba Yaga calls the cabin down, she hops inside it, gains a health shield, and starts throwing fireballs that exist on the map. These fireballs deal a little bit of damage when they land, and then they also chase enemies and deal damage over time. This is why Gem of Isolation can be good, but this is really the only ability in the game for Baba Yaga that can really proc Gem of Isolation well. So now with the ability explanation out of the way, let's just talk about my different tips and tricks for what you can do to be more effective as Baba Yaga. The first thing is to follow my build. As you can see, I like to flex into a more bruiser style build, kind of like the same way I build into Zhang Kui. This is because I find that you have to put yourself into a very close range in order to deal damage, and you're going to get punished if you're building Glass Cannon. That's why I like these bruiser style items that are going to give you a lot of stats, and they're going to allow you to stay in fights longer. You can still do damage. There is no shame in being the solo lane style character that just creates room so that your carries can deal their massive amounts of damage. My personal favorite thing about this character is the third ability. With the third ability, Spirit Robe, and Oni Hunter's Garb all activated at the same time, you're going to have over 50% damage mitigation when you're inside the cauldron. That is a pretty large number. It's going to make you very tanky, and it's going to allow you to face check the enemy carries and just create space. Not to mention, when you start getting under a little bit of stress, you can always ult to knock everything away from you and gain a health shield. I will say that you do feel, especially early game, like a sitting duck inside the cabin when you ult, but that only gets changed when you start to build tanky. When I was playing and testing glass cannon style builds, every single time I went into the alt, I was just a giant hitbox that everyone could collapse on. And that is the other side of why I like to build tanky. You are able to do more Baba Yaga things if you manage to build tanky and just survive, which you can't do if you're building glass cannon. Those are all my day one tips and tricks. I feel like as we all start to understand the different runes and those passive effects on the first ability more, this character is really going to evolve and potentially hop into the spotlight. But as of right now, I'm not convinced that this character is super top tier. But thank you for watching. Click on this video on your screen if you want to watch more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.